In a recent conversation with Elon Musk and Peter Diamandis, they talked about how people with a positive mindset lived on average 10 to 15 years longer than those with a negative mindset. This blew my mind and sparked a whole presentation that I recently had at BX Networking in the Sunshine Coast, Australia. In today's episode, this is a live recording from a presentation at BX where I talk about why having a positive mindset matters, and I shared some practical tips on building a resilient mindset. I talk about how video marketing is a great training tool to build up your marketing mindset muscles. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and thanks so much for listening.
Well, thank you everyone for letting me chat today. As BX does, they generally do themes for each month for the xCite presentations, and January is all about mindset. So I'm really excited to chat about the mindset of running a business, the mindset of marketing. I listened to a very interesting talk between somebody that you might have heard of, I'm not sure, his name's Elon Musk, and Peter Diamandis, who is a doctor and a leading researcher in abundance and positive psychology. I love him. He founded, I think, the X Prize. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, they were having a conversation on what was Twitter, now X, and just randomly, I was preparing for this talk and they were talking about mindset, and I was like, no way, what's the odds of that? So they were talking, and Peter Diamandis said that studies have shown people who have a positive mindset live 10 to 15 years longer than people with a negative mindset. Isn't that crazy? That shows you how powerful the way you think shapes your longevity, your health, and if we put that into our businesses, it's going to transform the way that we run our businesses as well. I think that any business coach you talk to, any successful entrepreneur will say that the power of your mindset in your business, of backing yourself, of believing what you're doing, and knowing that it's going to work out, no matter how it kind of pans out, it's probably the most important thing that we need to unlock as entrepreneurs. And I think that's super true. I know for me, that's been my journey in my business as well. So mindset is overcoming things like imposter syndrome. Every business that I've spoken to, every business owner anyways, has struggled with this when it comes to marketing their business, especially when it comes to talking about things online or public speaking. It's like, why would anybody want to hear from me? You know, I don't really know what I'm talking about. People are going to figure that out and I'm going to be outed as a fraud. And it's like, where does that come from? That's so crazy to think that, you know, you've been working in your career for so long, you're an expert at what you do, but yet you're still thinking that you're not good enough and that you're not somebody that people want to listen to. So mindset is really unlocking that you do have value to add to the world. And if you can change that perspective from why would anybody want to listen to me to being you're doing a disservice to the world if you're not sharing your message, right? You're not helping people with your expertise if you're hiding behind your own insecurities and your own doubts. So I think mindset is probably the most important thing, not just with your marketing, but with your business at large. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think you can help train a good mindset, especially with your marketing, because that's what I do. So I'll focus on that. But I think mindset is a matter of training. It's just like going to the gym, or let's say you're launching a new business. You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to do some planning, and it's just consistency. If you are trying to get new clients, you're not going to get any clients by calling one person and going, oh, they said no. I must be a failure. I got to give up. You have to keep calling, right? You have to keep knocking on doors. You have to keep showing up. So that mindset of going, there's going to be 99 no's before I get that one yes of somebody who actually does want to work with me. That resilience is just kind of going, look, it's not no, it's no, not now. I'm going to move on and I'm going to find somebody else who sees the value in what I do and is willing to work with me. So that mindset, I think, can be trained just like a muscle. You know, you don't go to the gym one day and suddenly have a six-pack. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd all look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or, I don't know, female equivalent. You'd all be stunning if you could just go to the gym once, do some sit-ups, and suddenly, you know, amazing Adonis. So I think it's just like that with your mindset. Your brain is a muscle. I mean, not physically, but it is just like a muscle. You have neurotransmitters, pathways, and neuroconnections that over time you train. If you have negative framing, you can start looking at positive psychology of gratitude practice, of sending thank you notes to friends, clients, family members each day, and that will start training your brain to connect different neural pathways to see the world in a more positive way. Now, I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here. I'm going to bring it back to marketing. I think that in terms of your marketing, to learn how to back yourself and get yourself out there, I'm a bit biased, but I think the best way you can do this is through video marketing. And the reason for that is because you're practicing, just like you would for an event. Let's say I don't know if anybody here is into triathlons or marathons or anything crazy like that, but you're not just going to go and run a marathon having never trained before. You need to go and start practicing. You need to start small. If you're going to do, how long is a marathon? Is it 42 kilometers. Clearly I do marathons. So 42 kilometers. You're not going to go out tomorrow if you've never run before and run 42 kilometers. You're probably going to kill yourself, right? So you don't want to do that. You got to start small. Start doing 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers. And as you grow, you're going to start being able to do more and more. You're going to get to 10 kilometers, then 15, then 20. And before you know it, you're going to be going, wow, like I didn't even think I could run 1 kilometer once upon a time. And suddenly I'm doing 20 kilometers. I'm doing half a marathon. This is great. So I want you to look at things like that. If you're training for an event, you want to be a public speaker, you want to market your business, you want to grow your presence online, you got to start somewhere. Every journey of what's the saying? Every journey starts with a single step. And I think that that's really true with your marketing as well. So in terms of building up your resilience, building up your mindset, it's, I think, starting small and looking at what are some simple ways that you can start training yourself to become more resilient about talking about your business. I think there's 3 things you can do. The first one is you can start setting up a camera like this, just get your phone and start talking to your phone as if you're talking to a client or you're talking to a friend, and tell them about your business. Who are you? What do you do? Explain your services to somebody who has no clue what you do, right? Because so often we get caught up in the jargon of like, oh, it's your CPC and ROAS and all these like weird things that people are like, I have no idea what you're saying, man. You have to break it down into layman terms. And this is great training for that marathon of marketing your business. I think that if you look at content in a way of kind of like, I'm just going to be talking to a friend as if they knew nothing about me and my business, I'm going to talk about that. It's great practice for you to be able to train yourself for your own digital marketing and feeling more confident talking in front of a crowd. So that's the first thing, I think, is set up your camera at home, find yourself a safe space that you're not going to be interrupted, and talk to your camera as if it's a friend talking about your business. Step 2 would probably be looking at testimonials. We all work with clients day in and day out. So if they're not going to do video for you, because it's so hard to get your customers to actually jump on a camera and talk about you, you can do it. There's nothing stopping you from talking about your testimonials, your case studies, and we're all human. We love stories. So rather than you being like, hi, I'm Kyle, I work at Social Geeks, I'm great at this, and everybody loves me, that's terrible, right? Because people will be like, Kyle sounds like he's an egotistical maniac. What you want to do is say, I had a client that I was working with, they were struggling with their sales, they were struggling with leads in their business, and here's how I helped them with Google Ads. And we were able to scale their business up, twofold. We got them to double their revenue in 90 days. A story like that, it's much more believable, right? We hear that and we go, that sounds great. That sounds like something I would like. So I want to work with Kyle. So that's the stories that you can tell in your businesses. So the first one would be talk about your business, what it is that you do and your services. The second one would be some case studies and testimonials. Tell a story of how you helped a client, focus on where they were at and where you got them to and how you bridged that. And the last thing I would say is just start doing things like this. You're all here at BX and you have a great opportunity to get in front of a crowd and talk about what it is that you do. And trust me, I did a presentation in this exact group probably a year ago, and I remember being so shaky and nervous and being like, oh, this is terrifying. But then practice makes you more confident. You get up, and trust me, you might see people on stage and they look super confident. We're all nervous wrecks before we jump in front of a crowd. Like Bobby, you do a lot of speaking and engagements. I imagine, maybe you don't, but maybe you're.
I'm scared to do 40 seconds.
There you go. Yeah. Your heart rate goes up. We all feel that same adrenaline rush before talking, and I think that's what connects us as humans, is that we all feel that fear. But bravery is not the absence of fear. It's facing your fear head on and still doing what you know you need to do. So on that, guys, I really appreciate your attention today. I hope that was an insightful presentation on mindset in your marketing, in your business, and in your life. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Yes. Any questions? Yes, Amy.
I know you shared a bit before, I can't remember, shout out for 40 seconds, that
providing businesses with a platform of podcasts to share their stories.
Yes.
So can you maybe give us some insight about that in terms of the mindset you spoke about just now?
So in terms of helping them with their podcast for the mindset, so how do I do that with clients? Or yeah, okay. Yeah, so with my business, what I do is I help clients by jumping into a call. Anthony's actually just started with us to do this. And sometimes it's really awkward to talk to a camera. I get it. It's like we don't all talk to ourselves. It's, you know, people think we're crazy if you do that. So talking to a camera does feel pretty unnatural. So what we do is we jump into a video session and we use it like an interview format. So I ask the questions, and it's a lot more natural to have a conversation with somebody rather than talking to a wall. Which we all find, well, if you don't find it weird, there's something wrong, I think, there. So that's the service that we provide. Try to make it a coaching, kind of a comfortable therapeutic session in a way, and talk through people's businesses. And then what I do is I edit myself out. We use the content of that conversation of the client, and then we're able to use that for YouTube, social media, and AI is great. We can transcribe it and create blog articles out of those videos as well. So yeah. And then if you do enough content, I think it's also good to start a podcast, because you can take that audio as well and set that up. But generally, you want to have a bit of content before you do that. You don't want to jump in straight away, I think, and do one. Yes, Chris?
You think that, this is what I'm thinking, I think, it's a question. You think that Facebook stories are quite an underutilized way of leveraging this?
Totally.
I feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of going like this, I'm always looking at it.
Yeah. I didn't realize this, but Instagram Stories is one of the top channels for social media in terms of viewership. They have something like 800 million views a day on Instagram Stories. So Facebook as well. Facebook Stories is really popular. The reason I push video so hard is obviously I have a vested interest here, so I'm a bit biased, but you do get a lot more visibility. I say this to clients all the time. If you look at your Facebook page or your Instagram and you're posting images, just look at how many people are engaging on that. Chances are it's no one, because the visibility on that is just the people who follow you. And out of that, it's less than 3% of your followers will see your posts. But with video, you're getting in front of anyone who is interested in the topic you're talking about, and people scroll through their video feed a lot more. So you're actually going to get a huge reach of organic traffic of people who've never heard of you, but might be your target market. So if you're not doing video, you're just missing out on that huge opportunity of people who are wasting way too much doing this on their phones, and you might pop up, you know? So that's why I think video matters, and then you can share that to your stories as well. Yeah. Oh, 100%, yeah. Facebook's trying to compete with TikTok, and TikTok is video only. So they are prioritizing. I have a client in Melbourne who does e-commerce, and they do support mental health awareness and things like that. Awesome brand. They started posting more video last year. I was like, you guys got to post more video. They got 20 million views on their videos last year, because on Facebook alone. And all they were really doing, guys, was reposting other people's content, if I'm honest. So they were like, we don't really know what to talk about. I'm like, just start finding things that are in the theme of your brand and start sharing those, remixing those. And that blew up. So yeah, they definitely prioritize video, I think. Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So sorry, so when you say video, you mean like the stories, reels, TikTok,
Yes.
things like that?
Yeah.
Not like a YouTube and that sort of.
Well, good question. I think an easy place to start for small businesses is to do YouTube content, because the long form stuff you can use to cut into short form clips. If you guys are avid social media users, you probably are scrolling through and seeing a lot of podcasts. So you'll see people doing interviews and they're kind of facing, you know, this way, the camera's here. That content works really well for TikTok and for all short form content. So I think if you do the long form content, you can cut that up into small bite-sized pieces and then use that for your social media. So it's kind of playing smarter or working smarter, not harder. You're trying to go, rather than you spending 2 days a week creating bloody TikTok content, you're looking at, can I do half an hour a week or half an hour a month of longer content? You know, you might get 3 to 5 videos out of that for YouTube, but you might get, you know, 20 to 30 clips that you can use for social media. So I think it might not be perfect, it might not be, you know, the best content in the world, but it's all about consistency these days rather than having the perfect video, because it's really subjective. You never know what's going to work. Otherwise, everyone would have viral hits every time they posted, you know? Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks very much. Yeah.